Okay, so in this question, they actually tell us what the area of this room is. The area of the room is this thing right here, and they want us to find the dimensions. So what you need to know is, in order to get that area, you have to multiply this entire side by the other side. Now this side right here is broken up into two parts, so we actually have to combine like terms and add everything up. So if I add the two small parts, I'll end up with 5x plus 8, and then plus 4, and we don't need to write it like that. We can actually just write plus 12. So that's what that side is. And if I multiply it by this, it should give me this. So working backwards, we should be able to divide them. So we're going to use long division on this. So we have 5x squared plus 92x plus 192. And we have to use long division because the 5 in front of the x. So our steps for this, we got to stack it first. So I'm going to take 5x squared and stack it on top of 5x. So that gives me x. So I put that on top, and I distribute it. So this is 5x squared plus 12x, and then I have to change the signs because I'm subtracting the entire quantity. So 92 take away 12 is 80. X plus 192, and then we start the process all over again. So we stack it, 80x over 5x. 80 divided by 5 is 16. The x's cancel, so it's just 16. So I put plus 16 at the top. 16 times 5x is 80x, and then 16 times 12 is 192. And then I go back and change all the signs. So this gives me 0. So these are the dimensions of my other side. So this is x plus 16 feet. It says add 2 feet to the length and 3 feet to the width. What is the new area? So I know that one of the sides, let's see if I can remember it, one of the sides is 5x plus 12. The other side is x plus 16. And they want us to add 2 feet to the length and 3 feet to the width. The way I think of this is length is the longer one. So in the diagram, the 5x plus 12 is the longer one. So I'm just going to add 2 to that, and then I'm going to add 3 to this one. So this is 5x plus 14 and x plus 19. They want us to find the area. So when you find area, you just multiply. So 5x times x is 5x squared. 5x times 19 is 95. Let's see, plus 95x. 14 times x is 14x, and then 14 times 19 is 260.
Attention faculty. I just talked to Leslie, and apparently the email on the Outlook web version is down. It went down yesterday, and District is working on it. But if you use the regular app, Outlook, you should be able to get on. So I just wanted to let you know that. Thank you.
Perfect. Now everyone in the world knows. Okay, so after you multiply it out and combine like terms, this is what you end up with. Don't forget, area is always in squared units, so that's why I put feet squared, and that's the answer to that one. Okay, next is all about exponents. So you got to know your exponent rules. There's 3 basic ones. If you see the same letter on the same level, like all on top, that means you add. If you see them on different levels, you subtract. And if you see an exponent on the outside, you multiply. So we got to also follow the order of operations. So we have to do the exponents on the outside first. So on the bottom, we end up with x to the -4 and y to the positive second. On the top, we have x to the -1 and then y to the third. So what we can actually do here is fix all the negatives first. So the x -4 ends up on top. The x -1 ends up on the bottom. It becomes +1, and then the y's stay. And then you could just basically subtract, or just think of it as canceling. So we would end up with x to the third on top, and then y on top also. So that's your answer. Part B, when you have numbers in front, so 20 divided by 5 is just 4. I'm going to go ahead and fix all the negatives also. I don't like working with negatives. So x to the 7 is up here, x to the 3rd is down here, and then you have y to the 5th and y. So we can simplify the x's and y's just like we did above. So this is 4x to the 4th, and then y to the 4th. Now, just because the times, it doesn't really change how we do it. So I'm gonna sort of simplify this and rearrange it a little bit. So I have 2x to the 3rd, and then on the bottom I have a 6. I'm going to take the x to the 1st and move it down. So now it's there. I'm going to take the y to the negative 3rd and move it down. So it's there. And then I'm going to take the x squared and move it up. So it's there. And then I have the y squared at the bottom already. So all I did was take all the negatives and move them down. And if they were already down, I just moved them up. So I just rearranged everything. So if they're on the same level, you can add them together. And then the 2 and the 6, they just reduce to 1/3. So on top, I have 5 x's altogether, so it's x to the 5th. On the bottom, I have an x to the 1st, and then I have y to the 5th. And then if you have them on different levels, one on top, one on bottom, then you can just cancel or subtract. So this is x to the 4th, and then 3y to the 5th. And you don't have to write the 1 in front on the top, but if you want to, you can. It doesn't matter. Same thing. On this one, we have to, so this says multiply, but then we have this exponent out here, so we got to do the exponent first. So for the exponent part of it, it's going to be 3 to the 3rd, because this has a 1 on it, x to the 6th, y to the 9th. So that's that part. And we bring the other part back in, 6x to the 5th, y squared. Now we do the multiply part. So I can't really multiply those numbers yet until I simplify this and make this 27. So if I'm going to multiply 6 times 27, that answer is 162. And then for the exponents, I just add them. There's 5 x's there, there's 6 over there, so that's 11 altogether. Y squared and y9, there's 11 altogether. So what does it mean if a polynomial has a remainder of 0 and divided by a binomial? If it has a remainder of 0, it means that, where is it? Divided by a binomial? The binomial is a factor. I don't know why that's there. It's kind of weird. Kind of out of place. Should have been with the other ones, but that's okay. Create an expression using the following exponent rules: product, quotient, and power that will simplify to x to the 20. So for the product means multiply. So if I take x to the 10 times x to the 10, that's x to the 20. So they're asking us to create a problem whose answer is x to the 20 using the 3 different rules. And obviously that's not the only answer. You could have done x to the 1 times x to the 19. You could have got really fancy and done some other stuff, but there's no need to. For the quotient rule, I can just, as simple as this, x to the 21 over x. That's going to simplify to x to the 20 because that rule says to subtract. And then finally, for the power rule, the power means you have an exponent on the outside, so I'll just make that a 2. So that means this right here would have to be a 10 in order for us to get x to the 20. And again, there's more than one way to do that, so those are the 3 easiest ways that I came up with.